Hello, I'm Jolene Teresa.
And I'm Kim Burley.
And we are here to talk to you about our first ever On the Road show. So, we did our first ever show that was not in our hometown area at a really cool speakeasy venue. And we learned a lot about our team, what we've kind of been relying on venues for, and what in the future we could do better. So, we're going to break that down. First and foremost, we picked a really cool venue with speakeasy vibes. You kind of had to walk down this bulkhead, almost like you're walking into someone's basement, which made load-in a little bit challenging. There's no parking, just nothing fit. Nothing fit down this little tiny area. Once we got everything in, it went pretty well as far as decor.
Yeah, the decor was, because it was such a cool vibe, and the vibe of the venue was very speakeasy, like you said, it made decoration really easy because it was already cool. We didn't
have to put a lot up.
We didn't have to put a lot up.
Which was nice.
Yeah, it made my job very easy. They had a little entryway where we could play around with some stuff, and that's where the majority of our decor came in. And they already had stuff up that we could hang stuff from, which was really helpful. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice when they have hooks or some type of grate or some type of paneling, because it makes it easy to tuck things behind or loop things around, which creates an element of decor that is permanent looking, but it doesn't do anything to hurt the venue. When we go to a venue, we always try to use their people on staff, whether it's lighting and audio techs, front of house, bartenders, any kind of riggers. And this was an interesting one because we didn't know them and they didn't know us. So we were unaware that one of the staff members was brand new, and we may have put a little bit more on his plate than he was anticipating. And then when we learned this was actually his first night at this venue, we realized that we needed to do a lot more than we were ready for. But that's on us a little bit for not asking and communicating this with this particular person. So we definitely learned that we rely on the venue for a lot of professional tech things that maybe we can't rely on every venue for. It just really depends on who they have on staff. So stage testing went well. Some people chose not to do it, which caused an issue later on for some of the performers, but that's their choice, so we can't really do anything about that. However, the sound was great. They adjusted the lighting to make sure that we were going to have good lighting for the different costume colors, the different skin tones, the different vibes of songs and performance style. Plus, we had quite a bit of glitter on a lot of the costumes, and we used a lot of that very small stage. And then Kim emceed. This was your first time emceeing.
Yes.
How did that go?
It was... It's very nerve-wracking to do something for the first time, especially in a new place, in a new space. As far as the general emceeing part with the tech and everything, the tech guy was great with the mic and really helping me to figure out how to use that stuff. Because it was a smaller venue and it was more intimate, it was definitely more comfortable than emceeing for the first time in a giant venue.
Which is funny because I feel the opposite, where I would rather MC in a giant venue, whereas if you're MCing in a small venue and the audience is not playing back or communicating with you, it's very awkward.
It was at times. It was at times, and the fun part about this particular show was that we had 2 shows back to back, so I felt like I had an opportunity to try again.
You had a practice run.
Yes.
So when it comes to emceeing, we try to engage the audience as much as possible, but new location, new cast and crew, new audience members, new vibe, new venue. We weren't sure what to expect from them. They weren't sure what to expect from us. And we definitely had to kind of break them in to the idea that we wanted them to cheer and be excited. Not disrespectful, but to be engaged. And the show itself, I think, went pretty good. I mean, Everyone seemed to have a great time. There were a few tiny mishaps that are normal things that happen at shows, like someone can't find their prop, or the pole was set to static when they wanted it on spin, but it was an easy, quick lock. The venue had their own pole, and they had a lot of their own equipment, which we had not really worked with a venue like that before. We usually bring all of our own equipment, and I think some of our performers were thrown back that they were going to have to adapt versus just use what they normally use. So learning experience all around.
Yeah.
But the show all in all went fairly well. We didn't really have any big issues or concerns that needed to be addressed post-show, which is always a win. And nobody got hurt, which is a big bonus. I definitely think load out was easier than load in because we kind of knew which boxes to stack on which to get them out of this bulkhead. It was a narrow hallway, steep staircase, and load out was pretty quick.
Yeah, loadout was really quick. Once we pulled the car around, and because we had learned our lesson with load in on the easiest way to do things, were able to station people so that only one person was maybe going halfway up the bulkhead and somebody else was reaching in to load everything out.
Yeah, and this was a venue where we could have merch, which was kind of cool. That was new for us. I don't know if that's something we would pursue in the future a lot. Maybe, but it kind of seems like people are there to see the show, have a drink, and then go. I think maybe in the future we'll try it a couple more times, but it was all in all just a new experience. Our team definitely learned that we needed to be a little bit more adaptable, and I, as a producer, learned that I needed to be far more communicative and ask a lot of questions that I didn't typically think to ask, like, is this your first night? Are you brand new? Have you ever rigged this before? Because that's not how the manufacturer says to rig it. But sometimes those communications just need to happen because other people are doing things different ways, and that's totally fine. We just needed to learn that. And I think having it so close to home was good. It was a good first experience, nice and close to home. We were in and out real fast. What about you? Anything that you learned that, other than emceeing, anything you learned that you're going to take forward?
Being a new producer myself, it's learning all of the different things back end as well. And because we take for granted in Worcester everything that we have, I came into that with the relationships already there. So learning what we might need to adapt, what we need in a tech person, what we need in a stage manager, and all of the back end crew stuff was really interesting to learn and helpful to learn in a new environment.
We definitely learned about communication styles. We learned that our team is adaptable, but not necessarily adaptable in a way that helps the show grow, more that they're better at pulling people in to adapt to how we do things. And as much as I'd love to believe we do things the best way possible, that's not always true for every venue. So seeing which people were interested in traveling more with us as we grow in the future, hint, hint, and seeing which people maybe aren't as comfortable with the adaptability of new venues was also really helpful. And it was great that you let me throw you in a whole new role again. But we'll talk more about new shows later on. Obviously, you can check out Kimberly's Study Tour. You can check out the Studio X Presents shows. And we'll give you some more info on new shows in the future.